Great morning. I hope you all woke up grateful for your day. I hope everybody's feeling great and energized. This morning's going to be on menopause. All right, we're going to rewrite the script this morning on menopause. It's a really important video. It's a really important live. I'm very confident that I'm going to change the perspective of menopause for you all. I'm going to give you an awareness that your doctors don't give you. I'm going to give you answers that maybe you've never researched because you don't see it from my viewpoint, which is okay. And that's why it's so important to do this live this morning. So I want to wish you all a great morning, and let's get on with this, okay? Now look, menopause is something that is crippling women, all right? And when we're going through menopause, it is not pretty. We feel isolated. We feel shamed. We feel embarrassed. We feel very unlovable. We don't feel good in our skin. We sit there and we shame ourselves about it. The stories that we tell ourselves in our own mind about it are very unhealthy. So let's change that this morning, all right? So coming in onto this live for anybody who's watching, I want you all to know that I'm new at these live things. So I don't see people's comments right away. I have to actually go back and look at comments after. I don't know how to figure this out yet, but I will, okay? But right now, my importance of all of this is to get the information out there, all right? Now, if you guys are suffering menopause, you know what I'm talking about. Pissing yourself is not pretty. Forgetting things is not pretty. Not feeling good in your skin is not pretty. But why do we feel like this? That's what we have to ask ourselves. And we have to ask ourselves really what is going on within our bodies. Now, I've talked a lot about everything stems from energy. And I can't stress that enough this morning. And by the end of the video, you're all going to understand that menopause is the beginning of brain death for women. And what this leads to is Alzheimer's later in life because of the plaque buildup, all right? Because of the lack of energy, all right? Now, I'm going to explain that further, but I hope I caught you guys' attention, because how you handle your menopause is going to determine a lot of things for you later on in life. And we aren't taught these things. All right, we're taught that menopause is going to be hard and it's going to be crippling and it's going to be very traumatic for us, and it's going to be, let's change that script. Let's change that script today for you and for all of the women that are going to follow you in your life, because now you've become the lead in their life. So let's correct it within ourselves, and it's going to change this generational belief system about what menopause is. Now let's get real with menopause, and menopause is natural, right? It's natural. But this is the beginning of your brain death, women. So I'm going to get real with that, because you can change it. Now, I can't stress enough how much it has to do with energy. Now, all of you guys may think this is crazy and it's off the wall, but I really want you to come at this with an open mind. Okay, I want you to have the willingness to hear factual new research that has surfaced and how it is all connected to your brain. Because your brain is what functions everything in your body with all of these automatic systems. So what happens in menopause is we have an increased follicle stimulating hormone to desensitize the follicle, anyway, so that we don't ovulate anymore, okay? So what is happening is our baby making days are over. And that's putting it simply, okay? And that's okay, because in the nature of things, that is when we transform into a different being to take the lead role in the family dynamics, okay? We've been made to be, anyway, look, I want to keep this on an energy level and on a very positive level. This is going to be an uplifting morning for everybody. Now you got to really be aware of what is going on inside of you You have to understand you're not your menopause. You're not your diagnoses. You are an energetic being to begin with. And everything stems from your energy. So the severity of your menopause is going to be determined by your energy levels. Because now what's proven on brain scans is these symptoms of menopause, which I will talk about. These symptoms of menopause are triggered inside of us because of energies not reaching certain parts of our brains. Okay? Because we believe we're getting older and all of our belief systems, and we believe menopause is supposed to be hard. Okay? It's not supposed to be hard. I'll be very honest with you. When I first embarked into menopause, it was excruciating because of the level of my intensity of my energy. Now, I'm in postmenopause right now. Now, for all of the women that are going through menopause, I'm sure you've done your medical research. You understand what's happening within your body on a physiological level. But do you understand what's happening to your body on an energetic level? That's what I want to get through to you all this morning. Now, so let's get on to some symptoms so that people understand how severe this is. All right. Now, when we're heading into menopause, the before menopause state is not really talked about. We only talk about when we're going through the hardcore stages of menopause. Now, the symptoms of, okay, I want you to understand though, menopause, you can go to your doctor and you can be 40 years old. And your doctor, with the symptoms that you're expressing to your doctor can turn around to you and say, oh, you're too young for menopause. Now, all kinds of things can trigger menopause. And that's why menopause in this day and age is becoming prevalent in younger and younger women. I'm not 50 yet, and I'm completely finished menopause. I no longer have hot sweats. I no longer have, hey, everybody has mood swings, but it's definitely not from menopause. It's from my interactions in my life that give me those mood swings, to be honest with you. And I can be real with that. And I don't care who wants to label it as, oh, Tobi, menopause. But yeah, that is a part of the shame and blame game, which I'm going to get into later. Okay? Symptoms of menopause. Hey, we've got irregular periods. What does that bring on for us? Insecurities, fear of never knowing when it's coming, always feeling out of control, the self-talk that comes with that. All right? The mood swings. Again, not feeling out of control, being shamed for it, being in denial about what's happening to us, not allowing our bodies to flow. Because if you allow your body to flow naturally, without any resistance, these things are not going to affect you as bad as they do. And again, I'm going to say it for my disclaimer. I am not a medical doctor, but I have lived menopause. And who knows it better than one who has experienced it for themselves? What I do feel sorry for is all of the women out there that have men doctors who really don't understand menopause. Sorry, there's no sexist stuff going on here, but unless you're a woman and unless you're living it, well, hey, you're just a man on the outside feeling the brunt end of it and blaming menopause and adding to the horrific experience of menopause by shaming your women, not loving your women, not caring for them the way that they need, and not giving them the extra love that they need during this stage. But that's a topic for another day. Now, ladies, we can help each other if we change the mindset about menopause. And I was listening to a TED Talk, which I'd really appreciate that you women all go and listen to. It's Lisa Mosconi, and she talks about there's no gender brains. Okay, but the effects on our brain for women are a lot graver than they are for men. And where all of this starts is through menopause. And she explains it in detail. And it's really a serious topic. And now they've done brain scans to prove the research behind it. So all of this stuff that we've been made to believe about menopause, just like everything else, has to be taken out of the dynamics of it. Because we really have to rewrite the script for the younger women coming up. Okay? We have to allow them to have their power to be able to flow through menopause freely and naturally like it's meant to be. Menopause, just like everything else, is not supposed to throw you out of course or out of control. No, I'm sorry, it's not. Again, it's one of your automatic systems that happen in your body. Now, whether it gets triggered earlier or later in your life is dependent on your lifestyle. And it's dependent on your thoughts. And you may not want to believe it, and automatically your belief systems are kicking in right now telling you that this is bullshit. Because it's going to do what it has to do to protect you. And the reason why this information is a threat to you all women is because it's going to destroy your belief systems about what you actually believe about menopause. So your body's going to try to protect you from that. Okay? Because it's foreign and it's unknown. But I really want you to have the allowance this morning to hear what I'm telling you. Because it is going to affect the rest of your life. Now, I talk about being at a baseline all the time. In menopause, it is so difficult to even find a baseline if you don't go into menopause having one. But there are simple things that you can do daily to get control. And they're going to seem crazy. And no, they're not a prescription. And yes, you're going to have to retrain your brain as suggesting this for yourself on a daily basis. But it removes the shame, the blame, the embarrassment, the denial, and the constricted feeling within your body that doesn't allow you to flow freely and willingly go with the flow of the changes. And that's what's happening. Because all we hear about growing up is how menopause is a terrible thing. And it's going to ruin your life. And it's going to throw you off course. And you're going to feel this way. And you're going to feel that way. And you're going to feel this way. And we're trained that way. Now you have to rise above that thinking. Because every experience is unique. And you can make it a better experience. Now, just like everything else, you can sit and you can blame menopause for the disruptions in your life. Just like we were blamed for getting our first period, which made us feel off. You have to understand the generational destruction and shame that's attached to the functions of the woman's body. Now, we are creators. Without women, there is no life coming forth on the planet. We have a job to do. Now, I want you all women to understand this morning that the belief systems that have been installed to us about our bodies and what is happening is wrong. Okay? Now, when you accept that, firstly, you're not going to run to a doctor and delegate your well-being into their hands. And if you've done that, that's fine, because we all need support. And I'm not shaming you here for that. I'm actually grateful that you've gone and sought help, okay? Because we all need that too. But I know where doctors have gotten me, because doctors nowadays are not trained on the latest technologies. They are trained in a belief system of believing that the body is still running the show, and it's not. Medical doctors still believe in death. Get it right. Okay? Now, it's the belief systems in your mind that are shackling you to the hell of menopause. And I can't be realer and I can't stress that more within you right now. Remove that from your being. And yes, it's going to be hard because these are things that we've heard about menopause since we were born. Now, was it really explained to you, women's health? Did anybody in your life as a woman sit you down from a young woman and say, listen, your body's going to go through a lifetime of glorious changes? No. We were taught that we were going to be forced through hellish changes in our bodies. And this is the belief system on it that has to be changed. Okay, since puberty, we've been made to believe, you think that's bad? Wait till menopause. Ladies, let's get it right, okay? And let's empower ourselves, and let's empower the women that are coming up as young women and who are women today who only hear us talking about how bad menopause is. So that's setting the stage for them. And it's not that way. It's a glorious change in your body. And you have to embrace it. It's like anybody who wants great alcohol. They're going to go for the great age stuff. Well, did the alcohol complain about the transformation that it had to undergo, locked in that barrel to absorb its greatness? No, it didn't. So let's rewrite this for women. Let's take our power back from this. It doesn't have to be a bad thing. Yes, what we are going through is a horrible thing. And I'm going to be very empathetic to that because my own menopause was hell. Okay, and my 15 years leading up to menopause, which people don't talk about, was hell too. All right, and I was shamed for it, and I was blamed for it, and I was felt to people made me feel crazy. People made me doubt myself. No, people didn't make me do anything, but this is the scenario that I self-spoke because of my belief systems. Menopause doesn't have to break you. Menopause can be the time in your life where you put your self-love first. You put your self-care first. Be the lead in the family dynamic that you need to be, because while you're being crushed by menopause, I am sorry, you are not being your greatest being for anybody in your life or for yourself. And that's what it comes down to. And it's the shame of all of it that keeps us entangled in it, because understand, thoughts create feelings. So what you're thinking about, what you're going through right now, has a huge impact in what you're feeling physiologically. If you need an example to understand it, I'm going to put it like this. I'm going to use myself as a perfect example. Now, when these hot flashes would come on, and they come on sudden, and they grab you, and they just say, oh yeah, bitch, watch this. Okay? And that's what they would do to me. It didn't matter where I was. Didn't matter who I was around. But what I slowly realized is that certain things triggered these reactions in me. And that it wasn't that I was just having them. Okay? Just like anything else. These hot flashes would come on, and the fiercity of them would come on, and the intensity of them would be exactly what I would make them to be. But I had to get real with that. So, because I like to get real with myself, and I don't lie to myself, I had to really analyze myself. And I had to ask myself, hey, all right, now, just like anything else that's happened to me, and I've had to beat death. So I came out of total sepsis already, okay, people? I want you to understand this. Laying, almost dying on a hospital bed from total sepsis, I came back from that, okay? I only went through menopause after that. So imagine being in a state where your body is totally wrecked. Totally. Your kidneys have shut down. Your liver is failing. And you've been given 16 hours to live. All right, you survive that. You get out of the hospital. And then you got to tackle menopause. Okay? So then people, when you get out of that situation, people don't know. People get scared of you. First of all, hey, she was supposed to die. Well, your belief systems in the head don't allow that to be a suggestion of acceptance, because the belief system says, hey, she's supposed to be dead. So much so that my microbiologist retired. Okay? Let's get real with that, because I proved his 44 years of what he thought he believed wrong. Okay? Now, when it came to menopause, and I tried to talk about it, knowing that I got to talk about things to stay all right. I can't keep it bottled up. Okay? And that's another thing that we do. We bottle this shit inside that we're going through as if we're the only one going through it. And it is the most natural thing a woman could go through. Just like getting her first period. And it's going to happen. Right? So let's get right about that too. But it doesn't make a woman any less of a woman. It makes them a better woman. And you can take menopause and make it into something that fuels you to be a better person to yourself. Because at the end of this, you're going to understand how you alone have magnified your symptoms. Okay? Now, you're going to take your power back from this. When I came out of the ICU and I had to feel menopause after that, I had two options. But knowing how important it is and knowing energy flow is where it stems from, I had to go within myself. And I had to self-talk myself out of anything. So let me get back to the heat flash, okay? The hot flash. When these things come on, they come on sudden. And like I said to you before, there's things when you start analyzing and taking a pause without judgment on yourself or what's happening to you, you're going to see it differently, and you're going to be able to maneuver through it differently and actually control it. Now, this is the example for that. When these hot flashes would come up, and understand the intensity of who I am. So if you think that these hot flashes were little, there's nothing little about me. Okay. Now these things would engulf me to the point where I would literally want to just open my chest and allow my soul to jump out. Okay. Now menopause is real for women. I survived death. And then going through menopause, I just wanted to fucking kill myself. And I'm sorry to put it that way, but you need to understand the intensity of what I felt. But I got over it. And that's the key point. I got over it. How? When these hot flashes would come up, I would say, okay. Now, when you really identify what is happening to you in your body and understand that it's hormonal levels changing, and this is where the moods change. But if you're going to understand now what's tied and what part of the brains are tied to the lack of energy in your body, which starts producing brain death, these are why the symptoms happen. Okay, these hot flashes that would come up, I would have to sit them the fuck down. And I'm sorry I'm swearing, ladies, but you know what? I don't think there's one woman sitting down with me this morning that hasn't said that themselves. Okay? Now, ladies, it is real, but you're amplifying these symptoms. I want you to understand, when you're stressed out and you're amplifying the cortisol levels, you are suppressing your estrogen. So Stress triggers early menopause. If you don't find your baseline and you don't start living right, you get forced into menopause, an uncontrollable menopause, because your body is in control and not you. If you've had any operations, you've had any trauma in your life, this all triggers menopause early. Not one woman is exempt from this. You're going to go through it. Now, how you go through it is of your choice. Seriously. Because you've got to take your control back from that. And I can't stress how important that is. Okay, I want you to understand, when these hot flashes come up, your hypothalamus within your brain is the part of the brain that regulates your body temperature. Now, when the energy is not getting to that part of the brain properly, because you're in a restricted state and you have all these negative thoughts and you're not allowing your body to do its own job and you're playing in its brain, and this is all a part of me telling you to get out of your brain, because you play in your brain and you command things to happen. And I can't stress that enough this morning. So every time these things come up and you have these thoughts, oh my God, I'm out of control. I can't handle this. This is terrible. Okay? Understand that you are commanding your control centers to work against you. Now, your hypothalamus, it controls your body temperature. So this is all about absorbing energies and allowing flow and being in a state of balance, that you can have harmony and flow. And if you're in a constricted state with constricted thoughts and constricted way of being, you are not going to allow the natural evolution of your body, of your being. And this is what it comes down to, because in the restricted states, your energy is not flowing to the right parts of your brain properly. And different parts of the brain trigger different symptoms within you. And that is facts. And there's nothing else doing it but your reaction within your own brain to it. And that's why every woman's experience is different. It doesn't mean it's any less or any more than anybody else. We all experience it. Now, where it makes it different is how we choose to handle it. And I can't even begin to stress how important that is, because your thoughts create amplified feelings. And where you put your focus is what gets amplified. So, these hot flashes, they come on. You automatically, because you're feeling them in your energy, you put focus on them. Oh, I'm having a hot flash. That alone, just you putting your focus onto that hot flash, which should be a warning sign to you that your body has to regulate its temperature because of what's happening hormonally within you. Now, what happens is you focus on that. You say, oh shit, I'm having a hot flash. Number one, that becomes a threat to your being. So there's only 3 responses that you are going to have. Okay, now what? It all intertwines, because the amygdala is your sensory system for fear. And that's, okay, so understand, your hypothalamus says, okay, I got to regulate the body temperature. Let me send the warning signal, because that's what's going to happen. Because your brain communicates with your body and your body goes back to your brain, and back and forth, ladies. Understand this, okay? Now, the hypothalamus of your brain, which regulates your body temperature, is sending neurotransmitters to other parts of your brain, if your brain is communicating properly with itself, because it knows what to do. And I'm going to stress this again. This is why we are only given 10% of our brain power. You know why? Because if we were in control of the automatic systems that were working all the time within us, we'd be dead. Okay? We can't accept life changes freely. Do you really think we sit there and complain we don't have enough time in the day to get things done? Hey, do you know that you have 60,000 to 90,000 thoughts a day? Okay, you do that more than you do anything in a day. Why? Because it creates movement, it creates activity, it creates change, it creates growth. That's why. But you got to get your thoughts right. Thoughts right about menopause, thoughts right about yourself. And why is this happening to us? It's because of what we've been conditioned to believe. Now, let me get back to the energetic point, because I've already been on here a half an hour, and I think you get the gist of it, that it's your mind amplifying your symptoms. So let me explain that. Now, your hypothalamus, yes, okay, I'm going to get back to that. It regulates your body temperature. Now, that's in like the core in the bottom of your head. Now, if that's sending messages to your brain, okay, shit, now look, I've got to do this hot flash, because that's what's happening. And then your amygdala response in your brain, because that's your fear center, is going to go, this is a threat. Well, okay, how do we react to a threat? Fight, flight, or freeze. Understand that. So, what happens initially is we're going to try to fight this hot flash. And that's what's going to happen. And your subconscious is going to force you to do that, thinking that this hot flash is a threat, because it's abnormal to you and it's not making you feel good. So your brain is going to protect you. Ladies, you have to tell your brain that it is okay to accept this and to regulate your own body. And it sounds crazy, but that is the exact thing you need to do. Our fear center governs our being to protect us. Now, we've been made to believe that menopause is hellish, it's destructive, and we're shamed and blamed for this. Now, understand that the shame of all of this is the most destructive part of it. Let me stress why. I was listening to Brené Brown, and ladies, if you don't know who she is, look her up. She's one of my fueling influences. Now, she has studied shame and vulnerability and guilt. She's got a PhD in this, okay? And I respect her highly, because she came from a very unloving situation and she turned it around, and now she's teaching people about it. Now, the shame of all of this menopause is what shackles us to the hell of it, because shame, we shame ourselves, we allow others to shame us, we feel unlovable. Now, this within your body, it sends messages to the same center in your brain as pain. And that's why shame is so destructive for us. So it's not that menopause is the problem at all, ladies. This is a natural thing that your body has to go through. It's how you're shaming yourself and you're self-talking yourself negatively instead of empowering yourself, telling yourself that you can get through this, and you can teach the ladies after you how to get through this. So, Brené Brown was explaining this. The shame in all of this. Do you know that if you take boiling hot water and you pour it on your arm, ladies, it sends the same messages to your brain as shame does. When you're shaming yourself, when you're shaming others, and when you're being shamed. And that's the real problem with it. This shaming game increases violence, it increases addiction, it increases self-doubt, it increases bullying to one another, it increases negative interactions with people. So honestly, I don't believe it's the menopause that's a problem, because we do this naturally. It's the belief systems that have been installed in us to what we believe about menopause. Now, I'll get back to how I survived these hot flashes. You have to understand that because your fear center kicks in, no matter what change is happening, it's different. You're not used to it, right? And you've lived your life with so many changes, yes, but this is a change that your body's not used to. So it's going to be a threat to your system. And you feel embarrassed about it. Who doesn't? Okay, yeah, a lot of things happen to us women. We get depression and anxiety is one of the hugest symptoms of menopause. Why? Because we feel isolated. We don't feel good about ourselves. It's a change. We don't have to feel like that. That's self-inflicted also by what you're telling yourself. And then it gets into a vicious cycle. So it's not only your body not being able to thrive through its natural changes, you're also, on top of the change going through you, you're actually shackling yourself to a destructive mechanism of it all. And it's causing more harm on your body, because then it's not allowing energies to flow through you freely. Now, what happens to that is it allows plaque buildup in your brain, and that's what causes Alzheimer's. So how a woman actually handles menopause is actually going to determine, I don't want to hold myself to that. And no, okay, so I retract that. Listen, there's a huge correlation in how a woman has gone through menopause and whether she has Alzheimer's or not. Okay? So, ladies, if you guys thought that you were going to get a whole bunch of medical tips, no, you're going to get spiritual tips this morning, and I'm going to focus on that in the next 20 minutes. But I want to tell you this. When these things happen to you, any symptom, no matter what, okay? There's a symptom I wrote down to make sure. Okay, look, a couple of symptoms. Let me get into some factual stuff so you guys really get it. Now, symptoms, all right? Depression, anxiety, memory loss, labile mood, headaches, hot flashes, joint pains, weight gain. Now, on a urological level, in other words, bladder and pissing, you got incontinence. You got the urgency. You got to piss a lot more. The frequency, the frequency, you got to go a lot more. Sometimes you can't hold it. 1 minute you're fine, the next minute you can't. This is all a part of the body changes. How could it not affect there? Where's your uterus, ladies? Okay? So, but then you got vaginal dryness. Hey, that is very uncomfortable for our sex lives. What does that bring on? A whole bunch of embarrassment, a whole bunch of shame. Then we deal with a whole bunch of judgment from our partners. Then we feel like there's something wrong with us. You see, this is how it all ties down to it. It's not what is happening to us. It's how we're dealing with it. And we need to rewrite the script simple for yourself and for others. Now you got, on top of vaginal dryness, you're itchy all the time. Then itchy, you're causing trauma. Okay? And that's uncomfortable. We gotta sit on it. Okay? But ladies, you can override the severity of what you're going through by embracing the fact that you need to love yourself right now. And that's what it's all about. You're going on to a leadership role in your family structures. You have to get right within yourself and be allowing for these changes to happen. Okay? There's a lot of things that happen to us, and it's not talked about because it's uncomfortable stuff to talk about. How hard is it to call your girlfriend and say, hey, man, I just couldn't get wet. I was excited, but I couldn't get wet. That sex fucking hurt. Man, there's really something wrong with me. How do I get over this? How many women go out there and try to find lubes and try to keep up with what their men needs are without wondering what their needs are? These are things that aren't talked about, ladies. I want to arise the conversations on this. And it's real. And then we shame ourselves for it, which is very destructive. So this is not the only conversation I want to have on menopause, ladies. I want you guys to send me your questions. I want to have those hard conversations because we're not alone. Okay, it affects every aspect in our life. It affects your interactions with your job, with yourself, with your loved ones, with your children, with your grandchildren, everything. And they're watching you as the role model going through this. And I'm not sitting here to try to make yourself feel any worse than you already do. I'm trying to make you feel like this is human. And this is shit we all have to deal with. But let's be loving to ourselves while we're going through this. Your body's going through changes. But it's so that you can embrace being a wiser, more wonderful woman, I guess, eh? When you want to get real with it. And it's not a threat. So our body magnifies all of these things, thinking that it's a threat. And it's what we believe about it. Because menopause has become a threat to women. A threat to women's stability on every level. Relationship-wise, internally, outwardly, whether we thrive or survive. And it seems like women from menopause on there's two kinds. You either get over menopause and you live a happy, healthy life, And listen, there's all kinds of, let me get into tips and tricks, okay? It's been a long morning. This is not the only conversation we're going to have about it. So I just want you to be willing to see menopause differently. This is a time for self-love. There are ways to get over it. Now, first ways, listen, there's a lower estrogen in your body. Eat high estrogen foods. Also, too, you're going to do things that, okay, look, I'm going to, tips and tricks. Look, the most important one counts, and this is the one I'm going to stress on, all right? Do not allow it to control you. Do not allow it to be a threat. Now, this is how you do it. When you feel any symptom coming on, let's put it this way. When you have problems sleeping, because that's a huge part of it, I want you to understand that it's a problem in your brain stem, your energy flowing to your brain. Now, all of these blockages that are problems set in our path, it's our belief systems about it. Now, you're constricted to your energy flow. These things are going to be magnified. What you think about these things is going to produce the same result physiologically in your body. So, if you think, I can't handle this, you won't be able to. If you think, oh my God, this is embarrassing, it will be. If you think this is, oh my God, I'm not normal and I can't get a control of this, it's all of what you're telling yourself right now. So yeah, this is not what you expected this morning to hear about menopause, but we're going to get it real together. And it's not going to be the first conversation to be the end of one. It's going to be the first conversation of many, okay? Because we need support. Ladies, I'm here to help you. Frequencies on YouTube. Set your vibrations higher because this is draining stuff. When your body's acting out of fear, you're acting out of survival. Okay? You're acting against your truest nature. And this is why I can't stress to you, ladies, enough that you have to be feeling alive. All right? I've got a knock on my door. Hold on a second, okay? Hold on, I got a knock. Okay, I'm doing a Facebook Live. 2 minutes. Give me 15 minutes. I'm doing a class on. Okay, it's for the locker? Okay, I apologize, ladies. That was one of the janitors here coming to tell me that he did something for me. That's awesome. Okay, now, back to where I was talking about. Now, listen, there's parts of the brains that are affected with your symptoms, okay? And this is what I want to get in the last 15 minutes. When you have problems sleeping, it's because of your brain stems, okay? You're not getting the energetic flow. And this is what I'm talking about, being at your baseline. It's all about the flow of energy. This stuff, you have to be allowing for it to happen for you to naturally go through it. I'm done with menopause. 2 years the way it should have been done because I allowed it to happen. I empowered myself to let it happen. The positive self-talk got me through it. Affirmations daily, remaining grateful, being nowhere other than in a space of love for myself and for everybody else. And how do you remain in a state of love for yourself? Is realizing that you matter. Okay? Now, so things I wanted in parts of the brain that I wanted you to be aware of. Now, if you're having hot flashes, it's your hypothalamus. Okay? Your energy is not reaching that part of the brain correctly. So, and then what you think about what's happening to your body is, again, amplifying it. Brain stem is where your sleeping problems are coming from. It's your body's trying to allow the flow of energy to get to these parts of the brain because it knows what it has to do, but because what you're allowing as your reactions to it is what's actually forcing these symptoms huge on you. Okay? There was another thing that I wanted to, another part of the brain I wanted to talk about. Okay, now for your memory center. Your memory center is your hippocampus, okay? This is what controls mood swings, you forget things. This is, again, look, they've done research now that you need to understand that they've scanned brains during symptoms and saw that these are the parts of the brain that the energy, it's how much energy is getting to these parts of your brain that determine your symptoms. Okay? And that's what it really comes down to. Your doctor could put you on sleeping pills, it's not going to help it. Your doctor can put you on antidepressants, it's not going to help it. It is going to diminish your symptoms for a time being. It's a Band-Aid effect. You have to go deeper, and you have to understand that it's our belief systems that are forcing intensified symptoms on ourselves. So rewrite that script in your head. When you feel these symptoms coming on, and it's going to be hard to do, and it's going to be your choice, but I guarantee that the time you start implementing this, it's going to change everything. Any symptom, no matter what's happening to you, you have to immediately stop yourself dead in your tracks and stop that fear response in your body. You have to trust your body. Your body knows what it has to do. You have not. You should not have any thoughts about it because you are not the governing force of what has to happen. You're feeling the effects of it. Okay? So you got to control it in this sense. When these things are arising, ladies, you have to love yourself. You have to take that step for yourself and go, all right, take a deep breath. Say nothing but I love myself. My body, you know what you have to do. I am going to allow you to do it. And the intensity of these symptoms is going to diminish. I spoke to myself every day. I don't want to go more than over 10 minutes, okay? And you guys probably didn't think you'd get out of this what you thought. But look, the biggest tip and trick that I can give you today is to love yourself to its totality. No matter what you've lived, no matter what you think about yourself, it's time to rewrite your script in your head. You have to love yourself, and you have to tell yourself that your body knows what it needs to do. Because that's facts. If you had to govern your breathing systems, you'd be dead. If you had to govern your digestive system, you'd be dead. If you had to govern all the different parts of your brain and how they fire and wire, and if you'd be dead. So why would you try to control menopause coming from a fear-based level? I'll tell you why. Because this is what we've been made to believe about it. Ladies, we're giving our power to menopause by believing that is something that it is happening to us and not within us. Rewrite the script. It is as natural as breathing for women. It is the shame and the denial and the horrible thoughts and emotions that come with all of that that shackles and amplifies the horribleness of it. Change that. Listen, ladies, I got through it, but I got through it only on talking myself down. So when this shit happens, instead of going, oh, fuck, oh, okay, you need to stop that. And that's the biggest tip I can tell you this morning. And it's hard at first because it's stronger than us, especially with all of the hormonal changes and everything. No, but let me tell you something. What fuels your existence here, ladies, I'm going to remind you, what your soul is made of is infinite, unconditional love. And that's what your experience here on this planet is sourced by. And that's your fuel. Just as you put gas in a car to drive it around, and just like you put food in your body to fuel you, your soul fuels your existence here. You have to change your thinking about menopause. And you have to change the way you speak about menopause. Embrace it, ladies. Have the love for yourself that you need to make it a glorious experience. Oh, and ladies, let me put it this way, okay? Menopause has forced women into a very destructive state. And it doesn't allow your energies to freely flow within your being. And this is what we have to change. Menopause was very difficult to go through, and I'm not going to belittle that. And if you're going through menopause, which you probably are if you were joining me this morning, you need help going through it. Because, hey, you need another woman that you can talk to about all the nitty-gritty stuff. And this is how we got to change the conversation of it. Ladies, we got to support each other. We're not going through it alone. Yes, our experiences of it are unique, but it's our self-talk and the shame that's attached to menopause that is the most destructive thing about menopause. And it's a most natural thing that a woman has to go through. So let's rewrite the script and empower ourselves by telling us good things about menopause. Tell your body that you're going to allow it to do what it has to do because it knows what it has to do and it's trying to do it. We could make this horrible time in our life the best time if we start to speak about it. Rewrite the scripts about menopause. And it can be a time of self-discovery and self-exploration because whether you lived out of control all your life or not, menopause can bring you back in tune with yourself because it gives you a time to inner reflect. That's why I think menopause happens to women. It gives us a time to sit and self-reflect and be the loving, nurturing beings for the world that we need to be. But as long as we stay fearful and everything seems like a threat to us no matter what, we're making it harder on ourselves. Ladies, maybe, I really hope that you guys see things differently. But there, like I said, I mentioned, Brene Brown talks about certain things. I want you to go and listen to her. There's motivation out there for women. Take the time to go on YouTube. Take the time to find the things that work for you, because it's going to be different than the things that work for me. But the one thing across the board that works for everybody is taking a look at how we self-talk. Because that's what creates the fear within us. You have to be open to change and open to allowing the free flow within your being. And that's key to being able to be okay through menopause. And how long it takes you to get through menopause is really determined on how long you accept, how long it takes for you to accept what's happening. And that's the truth of it. Because that's the only time that we actually can start getting over something, is when we accept it happening. But because we're fearful of it, the first thing that responds to that is we're going to fight it. Oh boy, we're going to fight it. And we're not going to talk about it. And we're going to feel shamed about it. No, ladies, we're going to rewrite the script about it. And we're going to talk about it, and we're going to empower women to talk about these hard things. Yeah, we feel like shit during this stage of our life, but we don't have to. And we feel secluded, and we feel isolated, and we feel that we're full of self-shame and full of self-doubt and full of self-hatred. And that's the real problem with menopause. And being like that, and those negative effects on our body, keeps us in a restricted state. So it's not an allowance of change. Ladies, I love you all. And this is the most thing that I wanted to change in your minds this morning, was the perspective and how we're looking at it. Because it's our thoughts that are amplifying and creating reactions and results in our life. We have to own that. It's not menopause that's doing it to you. Menopause is one of the most natural things a woman has to go through in life. But it's the shame and the blame and the guilt and the self-hate that's attached to all of that that makes it excruciating. Ladies, I'm not going to stress enough. If you guys want one-on-one help with this, hey, you know where to get me. If you understand I've got a different perspective, it's self-talk. Talk yourself down. Tell yourself you're okay. And then the fear response is not going to kick in, which makes things worse. Don't be scared of it. Embrace it. This is going to be once you shift your perspective, which I did, it changed everything for me. It glorified the experience. It really did. Instead of me going, oh shit, all this is happening to me. I went, all right, let's do this. And let me get over this as quick as possible, because it's going to happen. And as long as I stay in that restricted state, it's going to take longer to heal. So ladies, I love you all, down to my core. And I want you guys to unleash yourselves from all of this negative thinking and negative self-talk about menopause. Because that's the real excruciating factor of it. But look, there's tips and tricks out there. And there's a lot that can be found on the internet. And that's why I wanted to bring you something this morning that you can't find out there. And that's some enlightenment for your own mindset about it all. Because that's where it genuinely stems from. And that's where the results are going to stem from. And every time you think bad thoughts about menopause or about yourself, you're amplifying and adding adding gas to the fire. And that's what you're fueling. So that's what you're going to, in result, feel. And honestly, the meds won't help you for that. Okay? They're only going to produce more self-hate more self-doubt, more lack of control for yourself. So what's the biggest thing you got to do? You got to self-love. You got to put yourself first. And that's it. And make it of your highest priority. Because ladies, you matter the most. Okay? And together we can shift this. But I want you guys to reach out to me. And I really hope that I just triggered a different mindset within yourself. And it's not here to shame you, and it's not here to blame you, but it's to make you understand. Simple morning rituals. Listen, get up in the morning, tell yourself you're grateful. Okay, I'm about to wrap up. Simple morning things. Tell yourself you're grateful. Write down things that you're grateful for. 5 different things every morning. Take Post-its of all different colors. Take Post-its. Write all kinds of encouraging things. Post them all over your mirrors, your walls if you have to. Because every time your focus is drawn to that, and you look at it, and your body thinks it, it's going to amplify that. And these are the things that you need to start to create a healthy mindset for yourself. Okay? Watch what you're telling yourself going through this stuff. If you need help retraining your brains, listen, it gets easier as the day goes. Okay? At first it's not easy, but it does get easier and easier and easier and easier and easier. Allow the energy to reach the part of your brains that you need to, so that you can stay vibrant. Women. Because women, this is where brain death in women starts. And it's not the menopause that does it. It's the guilt and the shame and the embarrassment and the love lackingness of it. So we have to infuse love into the situation, love into ourselves, love into the other ladies that are dealing with this. And that's how we get through it. And that's how we're going to rewrite the script for many. All right? If you need help, I'm here. I love you all. Watch your self-talk. Don't be fearful of what's happening to you. Embrace it. Love it. Love yourself. And love the adventure of the next cycle of your life. Because that's what's happening. But this, remember, again, is an automatic system that has to happen within your body. So while you're putting resistance to it, it's going to make it last longer, and it's going to make it harder. All right? I love you all, ladies. Reach out to me. Tell me what you thought. And yes, I'm going to come back with another live filled with tips and tricks. But that's stuff that you guys can all find on the internet. And I wanted to bring something to you this morning that a lot of light isn't put on. And that's the self-hatred of it all. Because that's the most crippling aspect of it. So love yourself, ladies. I can't encourage you more. And this is the time. If you don't know how to self-love, now's the time to learn how. And it's going to make your journey through menopause a hell of a lot easier. Anyway, I've taken up enough of your time this morning, and it's probably not what you thought it was going to be. I apologize for all of those who thought they were going to get more out of this than they did, but I'm really grateful for all of those that shifted their mindset and understand that they need to own what's happening within their being. Okay, and that it's not a fearful thing, and it's not something that it needs to be spoken about. Okay, ladies, there's a lot of bad shit that happens, but it's how we believe and how we think about it that is destructive, okay? I love you all. Let's empower each other. Let's have a great day. You need tips and tricks on a deeper level of actual physical things to do? Always have a water necktie to put around your neck. It'll cool your body down. Always have a water bottle to give your body that water that you're sweating out. Okay? Have the right thoughts. If you're having something happen to you, a symptom, Have a to-do list ready. That if you need to read it to talk yourself down, then read it and read it out loud and put your life force into it. You'll feel the effects every day and right away. Okay? When you look in the mirror, tell yourself you've got this and that it's the most natural thing that your body has to do. All right? Give yourself the allowance of the change of your body and don't fight it. Allow the energies to flow to the parts of your brain that need to go. You know why? Because if you don't, certain parts of your brain, it's brain health. It needs to be allowed. And your brain will communicate with its different parts on its own if you stay out of it. I love you all. If you want specific tips for specific things you're going through, please message me. Because I will give you the specific things that you need for you with your questions. But I had to stress the most important part of it all today. That was you understanding that a lot of it, just like anything else in our life, is all in the brain. So how you control your brain says a lot about how you're going to control your menopause experience. All right? So, I love you all. Have a great day. Peace.